Hello everyone and welcome. Finally, Sim Racers Asia is back on Apex Racing TV for a new season, a GT4 season, and we are so happy to bring it to you live here on Apex Racing TV from beautiful Sonoma Raceway. My name is Marco Barbanera. Scott Newton is behind the cameras, and joining me in the commentary booth for this one, making his SRA debut, is the one and only Dane Beard. Hello, Dane.
Yeah, hi Marco, thank you for the great welcome, and I'm really looking forward to this race. We've got some very massive field of cars today. We've got 30, we've actually got 40 cars in this race. It should be interesting to see how they can all make their way around the winding Sonoma Raceway circuit.
Absolutely, and these drivers have been challenging themselves to many different cars in the past few seasons of Sim Racers Asia competition. Of course, going back to the days when they had GT1 and GT3, then they had seasons with the GTE. Recently, we had the F3 and Lotus 79 event, which was absolutely crazy. And those two cars running together quite nicely, might I add. And now a big change, of course, with the latest addition to the racing roster, the GT4 Porsche Cayman. They will follow, and we will follow, of course, the official calendar of the IMSA Pilot Challenge series on iRacing, and that's why we are in Sonoma. Of course, the cup layout, Dane, has changed. It is not the cup layout that we all loved. It's the new cup layout, which is basically the old long layout, which now is the new cup layout. So we are going to take a little bit more time to go through the lap. And as we are ready to go, here we go with the starting grid for this event, and I will go into detail during the pace lap with the racetrack. But on pole position, a familiar name, Leonardo Lopez de Oliveira in front of Grant Crow sitting in second place, then in third place from Canada, take him, then Tanarosh Sikinakte in fourth place, Jean-Simon Sanchez in fifth, then Peter Klavit, Jazrin Jali, Ryan Lam, Tim Ballinger, and the legendary Pari Wachukan in P10, and Hamad Durazam in P11. Wong is in 12th place. Samuel Chang, Kevin Wang, Leong Wan Hin in P15, then Nur Rafai Ratapom Clarkson is in P17, Amit Farid Abdul Ghani is in P18. Out Aran Meet in P19, running up your top 20 will be Federico Teixeira. In P21, of course, legendary member of Sim Racers Asia, Bruno Cardoso, then Park Min, Casidis Tumkunarnon in P23, Don Bai South in P24, then we have Charong Sawet in 25th, Hong King Kong in P26, Jakapan Jansuro in 27th, Mohamed Muhamin in P28, and then going down the list, of course, some legendary names: Ferdian Pratama, Fuji Sartono, Tian Zhang in P31, then we have Narong Bonsonong in P31st, and we also have Dirk Kresky, Julian Honor, Azri Nazli, another legendary driver, Jamal Kandur, well, no introduction needed, Philippe Choi, Mohamed Jazri, and then Sim Racers Asia extraordinaire Mark Lang, and then Mitchell Campbell, rounding up a massive field of cars. I have never seen such a big field in this championship, Dane. And I mean, this car is so fun to drive. It's going to be a fantastic one, I think.
Yeah, the GT4 Porsche Cayman Club Sport, it's a great car to drive. We can see some fantastic racing. It's not the quickest car on the planet, but it provides some fantastic racing for us. It's going to be interesting to see how they can handle this very tight and twisty circuit at Sonoma. As you said, we're using the extended cup layout, so we're going down through the carousel as we can see the cars lining up around the carousel, following the pace car as we are about halfway through the lap, and we'll be getting underway shortly.
Yes, as much as I loved the old cup layout, which is the only layout I really enjoyed of this place, maybe because it was the shortest of the layouts, I really dislike this longer version, but I mean, NASCAR seems to be going towards a direction of having more challenging road courses, and basically, this is where they go back to the traditional racetrack, going through this beautiful SS section. Of course, it's the run to the hairpin, and then we start. Of course, start-finish line is going to be a tricky place not a lot of space to go there, Dane, because of the walls. The walls are so close, and basically they are going to be starting effectively, some of them mid-corner, some of them in the hairpin. It's not a proper straight line when you start the race around here.
Yeah, especially those near the back of the field. They're going to be starting before the hairpin. It's going to be very interesting to see. They're going to be starting halfway around, and it's obviously with cold tires, it can be pretty interesting to see how they get away. Might see some spins further back as the pace car pulls away, and we get ready to go green.
We sure do, as you can see on the left side that Porsche pace car is in the other. Oh, look at that, already some drivers struggling with the cold tires. A green flag is in the air. We are racing. Leonardo Lopez de Oliveira is pulling away, heading into the first corner, as behind him, of course, everyone needs to be super careful with these absolutely dreadful cold new tire model V7 tires. You really need to be on your feet, and seems like the drivers have been behaving quite nicely, not seeing any kind of drama. And as I say that, of course, as per usual, Kevin Wang, I think, is going around, disappeared for a second. He's not reappearing, which is not a good sign, as yeah, maybe some connection issues for him. But apart from that, seems like everything went relatively well.
Yeah, surprisingly clean start. We had Oliveira, absolutely amazing start. He left them for dead there at the start of the race, and he really timed his getaway to perfection. We've seen a pretty clean start throughout the rest of the field. Everyone's got through nice and clean, other than that one driver spinning. But like you said, they really have to tiptoe on the first few laps to try and get their tires warmed up to get all the grip that they need. And we might see a bit more action through the S's there with the cold tires. It's going to be interesting.
And of course, they made a change iRacing in the latest update to the car, which came out yesterday, I think, or 2 days ago with the update, and this changed basically the way the setup works in terms of ABS, traction control, and stability control. They are a bit more separate from each other, as we see a move there going into the hairpin. Beautiful livery on. Is that a Miku Watsune? I think livery for Kim there. That's absolutely fantastic. But it's of course Crow fighting it out with Tanasitni Kata in P3, and this is a very, very nice fight. Of course, the new damage model is in effect as well, so we might see some. I mean, usually with this card, Dane, is the mirrors. You have like a collection of mirrors lying on the ground. After a bit, we had that the other night in Road Atlanta with Austin. Oh, and around goes Amir Ghani into the barrier, back of the car into the tire wall. Not the hardest of hits, but still, I think it's going to be felt. Let's see on board. And of course, he was going into the tire barrier, which is better than the concrete wall. Did he hit? Yeah, very small hit. I mean, he can live with that Eurasia Sim Sport driver.
Yeah, you could see the rear wing just coming off a little bit there. That's also another common part. The wing mirrors and the rear wing seem to like to hop off the car with a bit of contact, but not sure if there maybe was a bit of contact. It looks like he kind of just lost it on his own in the pack of cars. They all managed to avoid him pretty well, and he's managed to survive that one pretty well, as we've got a car spinning at
And
the back of the field.
Yeah, just caught the back end of that. Probably Ratapom Klaeskorn has gone around. Oh, what a rejoin there by another driver. And that driver is also, I think, on the drag strip right now, which is also considered to be like pointing backwards, because you are basically, if you go to the drag strip, you go straight into the backstretch. Did you see that car, Dane? I saw that car rejoin. It was not a Ratapon car, it was another car. Really came back on the track and almost collected another competitor there. You see there's some contact there, the spin, and that car, I think, will try and do a semi-dangerous rejoin. And that was almost an Federico Teixeira, you see, goes wide to avoid the contact, then gets collected here, side by side door contact, almost flipping, and he stays there. And oh, that was a bit dangerous. And you will see he will take a hard left now and go into the into the drag strip, and I think he has towed back to the pits.
Yeah, very, very interesting rejoin there. It's not the smartest idea to try and dodge your way through the oncoming traffic. You want to kind of hold your line, maybe reverse a little bit there to try and get out of the way so the drivers have enough time to see you as they come around that corner. But surprised that didn't end up a bit worse. There's a lot of drivers coming through there, and they all managed to avoid him pretty well. But you see Sanchez in 5th place. He's got a nice little train developing behind him.
Sanchez in front of Lam and Jaisrin Jali as they head for the hairpin. There is also, I think, Pariwachukan in there looking to get a piece of the action. 45-minute races, so we usually had the double race format in this championship with every car we had, but not this time, not this season. We're going to have a straight 45-minute event. These cars, unless I'm very much mistaken, have no limit on their fuel tank. That means that they will not have to stop for fuel, just because these GT4 cars have a massive fuel tank. I mean, in the sim racers world endurance race we had on Sunday, these GT4s went so deep into the run before making their first pit stop. Fuel is not going to be an issue today.
Yeah, we won't have to see our drivers pitting today unless, of course, they get some damage. And it's going to be very interesting to see because there isn't much of a strategy battle. It's all going to be what the drivers can do on track, as we see Sanchez closing down, or getting closed down by Lam here, and he might try and follow him through the S's and see if he can make a move into the hairpin a bit further on down the lap. This is a great view as they run through the S's. You can hear the tyres screeching for grip. 209 kilometers an hour before they have to lift for the SS section as they come down towards the hairpin.
Beautiful place, and you can see every lap that poor cone. I mean, he's going to get kicked out of place, then replaced there by a marshal, and then hit again, and so on and so forth, all afternoon long. As we have a car in the pits, so probably either a penalty or some damage long way in from Macau, which is, by the way, one of my favorite flags in the whole world. As Lam moves on the outside of Sanchez, goes up into 5th. Move between teammates here. Probably orchestrated via radio communications as we move back to one of the legends of Sim Racers Asia competition, Peter Clawiter. You can see him there in his Simsa Esports livery. He is so quick, so consistent. Was a fantastic driver. Of course, he was fantastic with the GTs. Now, of course, having to adapt to the GT4 cars, but absolutely fantastic. And also, you can race against him in AI form, of course, in Project Cars 2. He's one of the early backers of the title, so you can race against him, and he is very quick there as well, even as an AI driver.
Yeah, very quick driver there. He's chasing down Rafi there, and a nice little orange and blue livery on the Porsche Cayman. It's a very different car to the GTEs that he did so well in before, and it's much less grip, much less power, and you've got all the ABS and traction control systems that you don't have in those GTE cars as they come towards the hairpin. And he misses the cone, which is interesting. That cone is just in the wrong place of the track. You want to take the line through where that cone is. It gives you a much better line through the hairpin, and we're going to see that cone getting knocked over many times throughout this race, I'm sure, as we pass the 8.5 minute mark. And he's too far away to make a move into turn 1. It's not really an overtaking spot, but we can see he's very close to the back of him now as we come up the hill towards the carousel section.
I think I spotted another Hatsune Miku livery there in front of them with Tim Ballinger. I think. No, it was a lapped car then. Apologies. Very good livery for Tim as well. Look, this chrome / matte red and white, almost Marlboro looking, but in reality Mobil One sponsored car. Now, this is one of the very first broadcasts we do together, but if there is something I really love, and you will know it very, very, very soon, is Itasha cars, which is basically those anime-inspired liveries that are all the rage in Japan. And every time I see one, I am very happy and I want to see a close-up shot. Now, usually I'm doing the cameras, but thankfully for the viewers, not today. We have Scott behind the cameras, otherwise I would, show that car a little bit too many times. There it is, you see in front of Samuel Chang. I think it's a lapped car then, because he's going a bit slowly compared to the other car, but that's a fantastic livery.
Yeah, it's awesome liveries. He's not making the move easy if it is a lapped car there. He's not letting him past. He's going to have to make a move. As we can see, he's pulling around to the outside. Maybe just going to let him through into turn one. But yeah, great liveries. You've got fantastic taste in liveries, Marco.
It's take him, so it's not a lapped car. It's actually a fight for position. He's sitting in 10th place. Yeah, that's of course usually Hatsune Miku liveries are inspired to the very famous GT300 team, Hatsune Miku Good Smile Racing, which competes in Super GT with Mercedes AMG, and sometimes making some guest appearances in Europe, for example, at the Spa 24 Hours. They are basically the pioneers. And you can see on that Porsche, you have the yellow sun strip of the Super GT. So that's clearly a Super GT inspired livery, which is perfectly fine by me. And this is a fantastic fight, by the way, because they are all scrapping for position. You were talking about these cars as we jump on board with Samuel, and you will see that a very gentle car to drive if you want to drive it around. But the moment you start pushing, I think it's a car that really is not very forgiving, despite all the electronic helps that are, ABS, traction control, and the stability control.
Yeah, despite all of the help it can give you, if you treat this car badly and get it into a bit of a lack of grip, it's very easy to just lose the back end, and once you lose it, it's very difficult to regain it. As we see that cone going flying again, you come into the hairpin. It looks like someone's had some connection issues as he's disappeared. It's take him. He has dropped back quite far through the field.
Yeah, and it's also under investigation for unsafe rejoin. So that was the car that made that crazy rejoin on the drag strip. I think we finally found the culprit. Now that I'm, doing 1+1, remembering the very colorful livery. This is of course, an Asia-based series, but we have drivers from also other places, and sometimes it's not uncommon, unfortunately, to have, especially in this time frame, of course, of thousands and thousands of people being connected online, and of course, iRacing servers being assaulted by, even in the most calm part of the days, by 10,000 drivers. This unfortunately is going to be an issue. But back to the racing, and we still have this fantastic fight here. And at the front is Leonardo Lopez de Oliveira with 5.2 seconds over his closest rival, of course, Tanaroj Tanasnitikate, and he's sitting in second, as I said, in front of Grand Crow, and Grand Crow is around 3 seconds behind the Thai driver in his ISR Simsa Cayman. Then we have Ryan Lam from Hong Kong, and then we have Simon Sanchez from Macau in 5th place, as Oliveira 137.287. Another fastest lap of the race for him. Is basically, 1 second faster than everyone else in this, at least 1 second faster than anyone else in the field right now.
Yeah, he's flying as we see a nice battle evolving there for 4th, 5th, and 6th with Lam, Sanchez, and Jali. And we come back to the battle for 10th place. We see Rafai. He's going to be having a look as we come now down towards the carousel section once again.
It's so tricky, this place, and of course, as you can see, very strange for a modern racetrack. Well, I mean, modern, racetrack that is used in the current day, even in a major series like NASCAR and also the World Challenge America, among others. This wide runoff areas, and especially there in the carousel section, then if you go off the track, you basically are going for a ride, because there's basically all sorts of hills and bushes, and sometimes it's very easy to get stuck in there. There are ditches. I've seen a couple of drivers in the Italian NASCAR Championship getting stuck there. So it's a very, very tricky section of the racetrack, and of course, you are on that carousel corner so difficult to get right and so easy to slide and go wide, as we see Jamal Kandour here for Simsa Esports, another legendary name from Lebanon, making his way through the traffic.
Yeah, those moves for position are coming through, and he's catching up to some of the slower drivers in the field, and he's making light work of them. He's catching up now towards Kim Kyung-ao. And I suspect he will make a move down to the hairpin. He's very close as they come towards the S's section. Less than a car length between them. As we ride on board with him now through the S's. It's a fantastic section of track. You can see the different lines taken by these drivers. Really having to tiptoe around this section. Lots of elevation change and some high curbs. Take too much of those, you will be facing the wrong way in no time as they come towards the hairpin. We'll see, will he make a move? Oh
dear me. He needs to be careful, because he could get a cut track penalty. That's 40 seconds of stop and hold. I think he got away with that, Jamal, but we were talking about this earlier, Dane. I mean, this car is all nice and safe and relaxing to drive until it isn't, and it snapped on Jamal. We had a fantastic run. See if they made some contact. No, he just snapped. Oh, wow, that was so close to being a massive wreck with the tire barrier. He got very, very lucky.
yeah, lucky indeed. He's just hit a bit of a bump on full throttle, and that car is sent around. He did very well to save that from not only the barrier, but also from heading too far towards the right in that runoff area. That could have very easily gone back into head-on traffic, and he's lost a few positions. As we see some cars running wide into the entry of the carousel. Not sure if there was contact there or if it was just separate spins.
Mark Lang and another driver got involved in that. Let's see if we get a replay. We have Abdul Ghani going very wide and rejoining, and that's the first part, I think. And then you will see in just a second, I think, Mark Lang making contact with another car, and I will tell you who that was. It was Narong Bonsanong. They made contact probably there at the right-hander that brings you to the carousel, and both went off. There we go. Perfect camera work from Scott, and you see, yeah, there was indeed, as Dane was suspecting, a bit of contact.
Yeah, some contact there, and we see some flashing lights here from the driver ahead of Sanchez. He's going to have to get out of the way of that lapped car, and we see this battle for 5th place and 4th place really heating up as they come to the S section. Not much time between them. Drivers separated by 1.5 seconds. There's 3 of them there, trying to get past the lapped cars.
You listen to the tires squealing there, asking for mercy in that section there. Absolutely. I mean, I'm not a big fan of this racetrack, I said, but that's because I'm a terrible driver. Because in reality, it's a beautiful place to race, and this longer version is also very, very challenging to the drivers, more than the Cup version, which is the one I was doing well in the past.
Yeah, there's lots of elevation change in this circuit, lots of high curbs. It's very easy to unsettle the car. It's very bumpy, and once you get it right, it can be very good. But if you just make a slight mistake, as we saw just a few minutes ago, it can go very wrong very quickly. So we see now Sanchez riding through the carousel section, which is also part of the rallycross circuit here at Sonoma.
Yes.
Except the drivers will come the other way around, and it's all covered in dirt. You see them going very sideways through that section, which is awesome to see and to drive, but they come now towards the end of the carousel section where they rejoin the old Cup version and head down towards the S's.
The camera angle that at least I saw on my screen, hopefully you guys saw it as well, home, as they were heading into the right-hander, that brings you back to the cup layout, to the old cup layout. There was a lot of marbles in the racing line, a lot of dirty stuff, and that is of course due to drivers going wide, kicking stuff back into the racetrack. That's going to make grip even more at a premium in a track that is notoriously not known for a lot of grip. And earlier Scott was bringing up the weather, if he can bring it up again, so we can check a bit on the track temperature. Well, they got lucky, 31 degrees Celsius. It's not as bad as it usually gets around here, where the temperature on the track is quite easily in the 40s and even higher.
Yeah, of course, Sonoma, if you look around, it's pretty much desert around this circuit, and it gets very hot during the day, and it is only coming around to 10 o'clock in the morning there, so it's obviously not heating up too much. I think if we left it a bit longer, it might be quite a lot hotter. As you say, it can get above 40 degrees Celsius. As we see, change some drivers, see the 10 car in 14th position, and you can just hear the tires screeching, trying to find some grip through this section, this uphill section. It's very tricky to get your braking point right. You have to brake not in a straight line but in a curve, and it's very easy to unsettle the car. And we see our drivers faring pretty well so far, so we just coming up towards the halfway mark of the race.
Ferjan Pratama is joint second for most places gained, sitting at 15, together with Zhang Tiantian, who is like a couple of positions behind him. So far, the biggest mover has been Azril Nazli with 16 places, but Ferjan looking to get to 16 himself, as he is closing on Muhammad Nur Azam of Malaysia. He's going for a move maybe, but he said smartly, I think. He was too far behind, and as you can see, Ahmad is blinking a bit with his connection, playing some games, and that's of course never easy to contend with, especially if you're following. One thing we haven't seen so far, and of course it's something that you never really want to see, but with the new damage model, deep inside you want to see. We haven't seen one of those massive Rexes. Pratama pokes his nose on the inside at the hairpin, but there is good defending from Nurazam. So we haven't seen like a car smash into the tire, into the wall, or exploding in the little bits and pieces. And I have to say that the damage model with this car is done beautifully. Like when you hit hard, you can lose your bonnet. The rear engine cover can start flapping left and right. You can lose the rear wing. You can lose the rear part of the car. It's very, very well done.
Yeah, the new damage model project by iRacing is really beautiful. When you see a car go hard into a barrier, the car deforms in a really realistic way. It's great to see the damage model being improved by iRacing, and I hope to see it on more cars in the future. But I've got a message that says Mark Lang is under investigation for causing a collision. I don't think there's going to be much of an investigation in that. It seemed pretty black and white. He did cause the collision. But we've got a nice little battle here still for 5th position and for 4th position, with drivers separated by just a second now, and hopefully we'll see some moves being made soon in this battle. Oh, as we see Sanchez going for a move up the inside. That's how he's got 4th position in the carousel. He saw that gap and he just dived down the inside. It's a great move from the driver from Macau.
Very brave move in a tough part of the racetrack. It needs commitment, needs collaboration from the other driver that you're overtaking. In the end, it worked out, and you can see Sanchez, Slam, and Jali, this train of 3 drivers, all very experienced, trying to make their way through the traffic and trying to try and close down that 5-second gap between themselves and Grand Crow for the last podium spot. Slicing and dicing, as they say, through the traffic. They're a beautiful. Oh, everyone goes wide in that beautiful magenta liveried Porsche. They're leaving space for the competitors to go through.
Yeah, everyone running a bit wide. They went 3 wide into the entry of that corner, and Lamb thought about a move up the inside of Sanchez. They went side by side as they entered the S's, but Lamb pulled back, thinking the better of it. I don't think it's ever going to be a good idea to go side by side through this section, but he's very close, only 3/10 behind. We'll see him close up that gap into the hairpin, and he might have to try and move on the next lap.
"25 minutes on the clock right now. Still the cameras on Ferjam Pratama and Ahmad Nurazam. We jump on board actually with Nurazam. As you can see, he is being hunted down by Pratama, and has been like this for quite a bit. As you can see, the gap in the last 5 laps has never gone higher than 1.1 seconds, and now, of course, down to 0.7 of a second, 6 here as they enter in the hairpin. As you can see, oh, that livery is absolutely fantastic. Slicing through the traffic there. Lapped car moving out of the way very diligently. You see how close these walls are then. If you make a mistake here, you know, it's almost a stark comparison to the rest of the track, where basically you can go wide and be pretty sure you won't hit anything. But that final section, you know, the hairpin and the start finish line and first corner, they are so unforgiving.
Yeah, of course, you got really close walls just in that end of the lap and start of the lap section there as we go past the start finish line, and it's really close to the walls. You have to get close to the walls if you want to have a good lap time, if you want to be competitive here at Sonoma. You really got to get close to the walls, and like you said, the rest of the track, where are the walls? There's not really any walls to be seen for the rest of the track. You can go wide as far as you want and not lose too much time and not get any damage from it. But yeah, it's a really difficult section of the track, and most of the track is pretty difficult. As we have a look at Shukan here in 10th place, taking out those cones to get the optimal line as they come into the hairpin. He's getting chased down by Wong. So we see the gap from the leader is now almost 8 seconds. He's really pulling away with just 20 minutes left on the clock. You can see him getting very close to that wall on the inside of turn number 1. But it's given Wong an opportunity. He's very close as they come up the hill and working their way towards the sweeping downhill section as we've got cars off and blocking the racing line. There was some contact there between them. I believe they were lapped cars, but
yeah, that I think was Mohamed Jazri, and he's sitting in the middle of the track there, trying to get back. But that's the worst place you can have for you know, getting stuck in the middle of the track. Let's see the replay. Thank you, Scott. Was it all on his own? Or, oh no, there was a car backing. Oh dear. The stewards are not going to like this one bit.
That's a very unsafe rejoin right back onto the racing line. I can't help but think, did he not see that there were cars coming or something? And we also had Outham Amit. He also spun by himself halfway around the carousel section. He lost a couple of places from that. But we still got this battle here for 4th, 5th and 6th. Sanchez still leading in 4th, but the gap between them is very close here. Just a second separating these 3 drivers.
Fantastic fight this one for 5th place, and also backwards, of course, with Sanchez in 4th, Lam in 5th, Jali in 6th. They have been exchanging positions in the past couple of laps, as you can see. Of course, Sanchez and Lam, I guess, running the same livery, therefore teammates. And goes a bit wide there, is Lam, and this will give Jali maybe a chance to sneak on the inside of the carousel, maybe. But no, not this time, as we jump on board with Lam, looking backwards to the driver from Malaysia as they go back to the old cup layout. I really miss that corner that they used to do when you could basically go wide as you wanted. You could almost go into another state, but then the wall made like a 90-degree turn, and basically you had to be quick to rejoin the track, otherwise you would have smashed them. We've seen over the years in real life and in iRacing some absolutely massive wrecks against that wall.
Yeah,
Oliveira.
absolutely. It's a very difficult section of the track there. And it's a very fun section of corners that they skip out with this longer cup layout, but he's now 10.5 seconds ahead of the second place driver. And he's really dominating this race.
Fantastic. 136.984. He just had the fastest lap of the race and he broke the barrier of the 137, being the first and, of course, only driver so far to be below that threshold, 136.984. Absolutely total domination from Leonardo Lopez de Oliveira. He just needs to keep his cool for these final 15 minutes, and that would be a fantastic victory for him. But what a great performance from Tasaniski Kate. He is, as far as I'm concerned, a rookie at least here on the Apex Racing TV series that we broadcasted through SimRacer Asia, and is about to bring home a very, very comfortable second place in front of another legendary driver of SimRacer Asia as Grant Crow, and here it is, the driver from Thailand, and of course, close friend of mine, my endurance buddy in iRacing. He is Italian, but part of his family is from Thailand. Therefore, he should race in this championship because iRacing he races under the Thai flag, even though he has never been to Thailand and he doesn't speak a word, and he's very much Italian. But he races. He says that he races with a Thai license, and that is actually allowed in World Motorsport. You can have a racing license of whatever country you want. So he should be really racing here. I mean, he would be very happy with all his quote unquote compatriots. I will have to tell him to join us for the next one.
Might have some connection issues, but it does remind me of Alex Albon, the Formula One rookie from 2019. Very much British, but races under the Thai flag. As we have a look at a little battle developing here between Narasnam and Gandor for the battle for 18th.
Yes, you said it right, Kandur, of course, as his friends call him Gondor. For obvious reason. I mean, we had a whole Sunday dedicated to Battlestar Galactica references. We might do a bit of Lord of the Rings quotes and references in this final 50 minutes. But Jamal Gandour, what a legendary driver. Another one that has been there basically since the start, has been here since the start. Lord Gondor, as the clerk of the course, Wei An Chan says, and of course our esteemed colleague, not in the booth this season because he's actually giving a helping hand again as the clerk of the course for this championship. But at least he got the joke. So I'm not going crazy because after all these years, I mean, you start going crazy and misremembering stuff. But apparently and it's been quite a while since we last had SimRacer Asia around here, but good to know that I remember the important details about the series.
Yeah, of course, the series into its 9th year is very well established series, and we see a bit of a mistake. He's run wide, and it's very difficult on these new tire model. Oh, and a bit of a spin there as well. And the driver's looking to avoid him. And it's very difficult. There's very little grip on the grass with this new tire model version 7. It's very slidey and very easy to lose control, as he's just has done there, running wide at the top of turn 3. As we have a look at Kevin Wang, and he's got driver just a second and a half behind him there. So he comes round now the final corner to complete his lap 21 or lap 20. As you can see on the interval on the side of the screen there, we've got some yellow and orange battles happening for 4th, 5th, and 6th. Those drivers very close to each other. So we have a look at Ryan Lamb in 5th position as they come down through the S's. He's just under 3/10 behind. We might see a move into the hairpin if he can keep it like this. So we ride on board with him now. Very, very close there. And he's going to let his teammate keep the position for now. Is he going to go for a bit of a cutback? No, he's not. And he stays in 5th position. The teammate Lam and Sanchez obviously not wanting to battle too hard and lose some positions to Jolly. So they come up the hill towards turn 1 and 2.
So the HMSRT, which I guess should stand for Hong Kong and Macau Sim Racing Team. As you can see, the drivers representing both countries in this occasion, Sanchez from Macau and Lam from Hong Kong. And both flags are proudly displayed on the beautifully presented Porsche Cayman. As in the meantime, in the race shot, the Bernardo Lopez de Oliveira fan club is strong and cheering for their favorite driver as he's again slicing and dicing through the traffic. This is always scary, and with such a big field. And let's be honest, they're not a long race, not a very long racetrack. I mean, yeah, it's not the old Cup later, but it's not a very long racetrack still. That was always going to happen. You had to go through the traffic, but Oliveira is absolutely doing a masterful job, and the gap keeps on increasing, and therefore he is now looking at almost an 11.5 seconds lead as he flashes his headlights and goes past one of the Simsa cars. And here we go for another lap 23 starting right now. Less than 10 minutes left in this first round of the season. We are going to broadcast alternate weeks of this championship. So we will be back in 2 Saturdays time, if I am not mistaken. And of course, as I said, we are following the official IMSA calendar, the IMSA Pilot Challenge calendar. So I will tell you in a second where we are going to race, because I forgot, because I'm not a very professional commentator.
Yeah, we're going to have a graphic for that coming up during the interviews, but we'll see where we are in 2 weeks' time. We're here in Snetterton, and obviously next week at Road America, we won't be seeing that on Apex Racing TV, but we will be sure to see how that race goes as well.
Dane, sorry, we have a lot of course, most of the guys here in Apex are, of course, from the UK. I know that Snetterton is Sam Fitzpatrick's home racetrack. Which of the UK tracks is closer to you on iRacing?
I'm very lucky. My home racetrack is just 20 minutes drive away. I can hear F1 cars when they come around some of the corners at Silverstone. That's my home racetrack. It's pretty lucky to have one of the greatest racetracks in iRacing very close to my house.
Don't listen to the podcast that is about to come out on Apex then. Or if you do listen, it was good being friends with you.
I sense some Silverstone, let's say, despisement.
You see Wong getting closer and closer to the back end of that McLaren liveried Porsche. Of course, these two brands, McLaren and Porsche, were actually, of course, working together way back in the 80s in F1.
Just having a look at these cars as they come down past the start-finish straight. They're both missing the left-hand mirror of their cars. It's very obvious on Wong's cars. He's got that lovely red wing mirror on his right-hand side and nothing on the left-hand side. You just see a kind of darker patch where it's come right off the car. And that's for both drivers. I'm wondering if it's something to do with their lines through the first part of the circuit. Part of the new damage model being shown.
Yeah, and in the previous patch, not the one that came out 2 days ago, the one that came out basically during week 1, of the new season. There's a mistake there from Wong, from Nura. Wong gets the job done and jumps up into 9th. So one of in the release notes, so they said that they had made the mirrors of the Cayman a little bit more resistant, and I only dread the thought of how fragile they were before, because they are still. I mean, we haven't seen a lot of door banging today, and still many of the cars are missing mirrors. So it's they must have been really fragile to begin with. Now, I might have spent most of week 13 going out of the pits with the Cayman and smashing into, trying to smack into the wall just enough to clip away the mirrors, but without damaging the car. Yeah, that was too easy, but I think it's still very easy to do, so don't do that. It's not recommended.
Oh, as we see the car, the number 16 car getting past as they come back onto the cup sections. Another kind of mistake through the carousel, and he's managed to keep the position. Always do see another spinning car there, and I believe that was for position. That was Ghani there, the Malaysian driver, now down to 18th place, who was the driver who spun there. But it's quite a common occurrence in this race so far, with 5 minutes left to go, as we've seen people making mistakes in the carousel, and it's very easy then. They've got quite a long straight afterwards to make up some positions there, as we see them side by side into the entry of the hairpin. It's very good defending from Muhammad.
That was great defending, absolutely. But look at Nurazam, wily old fox of the championship, trying to find out every which way. They almost collide heading into the uphill section of turn 1, and then of course this very tricky right-hander over the crest. Very difficult to spot the outside curve that you want to hit, and then moving on to the right here, and then to this small left and right, and then on the backstretch. And again, the new quote-unquote hairpin that brings you to the carousel, and still Nurazam, of course, trying to make some positions. As you can see on the screen right now, he lost 6 positions compared to his start. He went 1 lap down, uncharacteristic for him, so he must have been involved in some shenanigans at the beginning of the race. Of course, don't forget, these drivers get 1 spare car, 1 faster per event, and now he's going for it. He's going for it, and I think he will make the move here very tight into the right-hander. That's going to be a fantastic move, pushing the opponent wide. Nothing Mohamed could have done there when Nurazam occupied the inside line. That was his, and he only had to basically adapt and go wide. Perfect move from Nurazam. Up another spot, as we see, we move through the lower part of the field, as we are seeing this fight for 25th place, unless I'm very much mistaken. Another Hatsune Miku livery. Fight for 25th place, yes. So, mistake there from Bonsonong. Bonsonong is trying to recover. Of course, he had that error mistake in the earlier portion of the race, as Azri Nasli goes into the pits. And very late, so a very late penalty or some damage, and he is about to lose a very comfortable top 20. Everyone behind will be happy as Chan Zhang goes wide, and Jamal Gandour says thank you very much, jumps up into 14th. Very close for 5th and 6th in the meantime, and 4th, of course. I mean, that battle has been close all race long. We are about to get to the white flag, Dane. These guys have been nose to tail all race long, basically, and I think that Chang has also joined the party. Now it's a 4-way fight for 4th place.
Yeah, and it seems that Lam has got back ahead of Sanchez there. He was just behind him, but we've now got 4 drivers separated by just over a second. As we can see Charlie having a look at Sanchez up the inside, which will become the outside as they head towards the hairpin. And it's not the best place to overtake around the outside here, but it looks like Chang is actually going to go on the inside of Charlie. And Charlie's gone try to go around the outside, but it's not going to work out for him. And Chang moves up into 6th place. Rajali comes back at him over the curb, bouncing the car over the curb through the S's. Great racing here from Sonoma, as Chang just loses out on that overtake. The fantastic defense and recovery from Jali, but they have now lost time to the battle for fourth. They're now a second behind the fifth place driver of Sanchez, and we're not going to see any moves in towards the hairpin.
And this is going to be the last chance for everyone, because the white flag is well and truly in the air for Leonardo Lopez de Oliveira. He's already almost halfway through his final lap. What a dominant performance, what a fantastic way, what a fantastic statement of intentions from him. He just has these couple of lapped cars to go past, and then basically will be in the clear. He doesn't need to go past them. I mean, he has such a big advantage over the rest of the field. He can quietly and calmly cruise towards the end of the race and bring home the race victory. It has been again a fantastic performance from the Macau Sim Racing Team MSRT driver, as he has just a few corners left, and then it will be time for a little bit of celebration for Leonardo Lopez de Oliveira. One more corner to go. There's a Porsche there missing rear wing. Kills some cones. We will forgive him because of the excitement. And
he's squeezed a bit there. Almost into the wall by the lap driver, but here he comes.
Big celebrations, flashing of his headlights. Leonardo Lopez de Oliveira wins the opening round of the 2020 season of Sim Racers Asia. A fantastic second place for Tanner Sidney Kate. Fantastic drive in his debut on Apex Racing TV. Grand Crow, again, legend of the series, will finish in third, and then it's a free-for-all for fourth place and backwards. They're going to come to the line in this order: Lam, Sanchez, Jali, and Chang. Lots of happy drivers there. Have been, of course, a long wait for these guys to be back with us. Nur Rafai will round up the top 10 in his McLaren liveried Porsche, as he is about to enter the hairpin as well. But what a start from Leonardo Lopez de Oliveira. Absolutely dominating performance from him today, and a clear statement of intent for the rest of the season, which again will be back on our screens in 2 weeks' time for the Snetterton round. We are broadcasting alternating weeks, and of course, let me say a big thanks to all the people that make this possible. As we have a 10-second time penalty for the 97 and the 44, by the way, which are, and I will tell you just a second, Jacapan Jansura, we finished 21st at the start-finish line, and the number 44 car, Mark Lang, we finished 28th, so there are going to be probably some post-race penalties that are going to be assigned to these drivers. And we are, I think, almost ready to go. The final race results of the day, which should be on your screen in just a moment. And here we go then. Race 1 of Season 1 is over. Leonardo Lopez de Oliveira wins with style in front of Tanner Sidney Kate in second place, Grant Crow in third, and Ryan Lam and Simon Sanchez running up your top 5. Jazrin Jali, Samuel Cheng, Tim Ballinger, Yi Wong, and Nur Rafei are the top 10 drivers. Then Kevin Wang, and the last driver on the lead lap was Razapom Klayaskorn. Then one lap down, Pariwat Shugan, Jamal Gandur, Zhang Tiantiana, Ahmad Nurazam, Mohammed Muaymin, Ferjan Pratama. These guys were all involved in some very, very, very interesting battles up and down the field. Park Min, Pacharang Sowet, Jakapan Jansuroj, of course, he's going to probably get a time penalty at the end. Azrinas Leongwain, Amir Ghani, Kazidis Tumkunadon, Narong Bonsanong in 25th and 26th. Then out run meet in 27. Mark Lang, another guy that's going to probably get some words from the stewards after the race. He will finish for the time being in P28, 2 laps down, then going below, getting into the 30s almost, with King Kong Ao in P29 and Dirk Reski from Germany sitting in 30th place at the end of the race. He was 3 laps down 4 laps down was Mohamed Jonos, 6 laps down in 30 seconds, Julian Honor, and then the retirees, who were Fuji Sartono, Bruno Cardoso, Felipe Choi, Don Bisot Taikim, Peter Klauiter. Did he take the start? Probably he did. Then Federico Teixeira and Mitchell Campbell. All these drivers were not, sadly, didn't make it to the end of the race, as we are waiting for some interviews. And before we go through the interviews, we can say a big thanks to the Macau China Sim Racing Association, who are, of course, sponsoring this championship for this season, among the people that make this possible. The Macau China Sim Racing Association is the first sim racing association officially registered in Macau and Southeast Asia by a group of passionate and experienced sim racers who are willing to develop the sim racing to another level in Macau. We are also developing potential sim racing drivers to represent Macau to compete in national and international series. Dane, what a race this has been. It was your first exposure to Sim Racers Asia. It is nice to see these drivers who, mainly due to time zones, are not prominently featured on, the primetime series or the official series that we broadcast, or the, of course, the leagues that we do normally here during the week. But as you can see, there are some absolutely fantastic drivers. The competition is close. Everyone is trying to adapt into a new car. I think this would be a good series for you to follow for the rest of the season.
Yeah, of course, it's been a fantastic race. We've had some really close battles throughout the field. Massive grid as well, 40 cars. It's one of the largest grids I've ever had to commentate on. Looks like it's gonna be a fantastic season. Of course, we've got 5 of the 9 rounds live here on Apex Racing TV, and 4 of them are going to be behind closed doors, but it's not going to stop the action. We're going to see some more action at Road America next week, and then we'll be back on Apex Racing TV for Snetterton in 2 weeks' time. So we can see some lovely slow motion slots, and we can see the schedule on the right hand side of your screen now. And those bronze triangle shapes, they are the races that we are going to be broadcasting here on Apex Racing TV. So we've got round 1 at Sonoma, it's just concluded, and we've got round 2 at Road America, round 3 at Snetterton, that's live, and we've got round 4 at Suzuka, round 5 at Silverstone, which is also live, we've got round 6 at Mid-Ohio, round 7 at Road Atlanta, which is live on Apex Racing TV, round 8 at Donington Park, and then the season finale at Interlagos, which will be live here on Apex Racing TV. So we'll wait to see if we have some interviews. We have got someone waiting for an interview, so Marco, if you'd like to invite them into the commentary box and we can have our first interview of the season.
Yeah, he is here, Amit Farid Abdul Ghani. Hello, and welcome to the booth, Farid.
Hey, hello guys. Thanks for inviting me. Was a heck of the race.
Yeah, how was it out there? Of course, we have raced. I've been commentating on Sim Racers Asia for almost 2 years now, among the different series, and of course, a first for everyone because GT4 cars, of course, have just been released, but also the numbers. The field was so big. How was the racing out there?
Yeah, exactly. The Porsche is hard to drive, and this is my first time driving the GT4 Porsche. So there's a lot of work needs to be done.
You ended up in P24 in the end. It was around the midfield, more or less. What do you think are going to be the things you need to improve on if you want to be quicker with this car?
Definitely more seat time, because to be honest, I don't have any. I usually drove open wheel car, so this is my first year driving the normal car. I mean the GT4, GT3 car. So I think I need more seat time and more practice.
Well, according to the score sheet we have, of course, I love animals, and I have a dog that always jumps in when I'm doing broadcasting.
Yeah, my cat is hungry right now.
I read someone today on Twitter that said and as well, this is true. Don't be sorry if your cat comes when you are doing some work or some audio conference, because the world right now needs a lot of dogs and needs a lot of cats. And I mean, that was absolutely lovely. So say hello to your cat
Yes, exactly.
from here.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you. So yeah, I mean, yeah. My point was, of course, Dane was telling me that you are getting 2 points for your efforts.
Oh,
Of
that's
course,
good.
you. Yeah, last point scorer of the field. Next time around, we are going to be, of course, racing in. The next time we are here on Apex Racing TV, of course, in 2 weeks' time, we are going to be racing at Snetterton. So I know, of course, in the meantime, you have another round which is not being broadcast. But how are you getting ready for the next 2 rounds? Which track are you looking forward the most?
To be honest, looking for the next race, Snetron. So definitely I will do a couple of. I will spend a lot of hours for seat time, so I get to used to the car, because Porsche is hard. For me, it's hard to drive. Even today, I'm sweating a lot during the race. So I spin a lot as well.
Well, Farid, congratulations once again for scoring your points in this first race for you in the Porsche. Before we say goodbye, anyone you like to thank?
Right. Firstly, I would like to thank to the Sim Racer Asia for making this event successfully, and of course to my team, Euro Asia Sport Sim Sports, and also my local Malaysia friend, which is in SRE Malaysia. All the best, good luck, and congrats to the top finisher, and hope to see you guys again soon.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Farid. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much. Thank you, man. Take care.
I mean, absolutely fantastic. It's better. At least the cat is very nice when he jumps into. My dog usually when she jumps into my room, she either goes straight for my pedals, especially when I'm driving, or she just wants to play and barks at me if I'm not giving her attentions. But you can see a lot of races coming up on Apex Racing TV, and we have some absolutely big ones coming up today. Dane, of course, we will be starting at 16:45 GMT. Rickmotech Road to Indy, presented by Cooper Tires. It's the official E-Series of the Road to Indy. That will be absolutely fantastic from Barber. Don't want to miss that. Then later tonight, the Formula 3.5 Championship at Spa-Francorchamps at 22 GMT. Then be careful with your clocks, because the rest of the world, the rest of Europe and mostly the rest of the world, will switch to daylight saving time. So we have the DCRA Championship at Barber. That will be, I guess, at 120 GMT that means, of course, now we have to do the thing. Scott will know the pain, because of course he lives in Australia, but now basically we will have to do GMT BST, because we work for a British company, like it or not, and then Central European time, and then the poor guys in Australia will have to deal with another different time zone. So it's going to be a bit of a mess. At the same time, we are going to have the Sim Racers for Mental Health All-Star event at Talladega. It will start basically 10 minutes after the DCRA Championship from Barber, and then of course you will be back with Scott next morning at 8:45 GMT for the Aussie Mixed and Fixed Round 3 from Road America. So we have 5 races to bring to you, basically in the span of less than I'd say 16 hours. Lots of stuff to look forward to. Dane, before we close, let's if you have some thoughts on about racing today, and what are you looking forward the most? This is your moment.
Oh, thank you, Marco. It's been a really enjoyable race to watch this this first opening round of the 9th year of Sim Racers Asia. It's a very established series, but really looking forward to the remaining 4 rounds that we have on Apex Racing TV, and I'm also looking forward to some of our other events that are going to be broadcast later today, especially the Road to Indy series. That's going to be one that you don't want to miss. iRacing Formula 3.5 series also tonight. That's also provides some fantastic racing. That's at Spa-Francorchamps. It's always a good round there. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to some of these races later today.
That's beautiful. Well, I mean, as per usual, a big thank you to Scott Newton behind the cameras. Big thanks to Dane Bird for joining me in the booth. And man, I haven't said this in a while, but if you live in the, in the Americas, well, hopefully you are enjoying your breakfast. And if you are here with me and with us in Europe, you are enjoying your lunch or you are enjoying your siesta, as I'm about to do. But if, like most of the drivers, you come from the Asia Pacific region of this championship, well, hopefully you are going to have a lot of fun in the rest of the night. But from everyone here at Apex Racing TV, I wish you, as per usual, a good night and happy racing.